Good morning, Toowoomba. Welcome along to Good Morning Toowoomba. How are you, Ben?
Yeah, good. How are you, Daryl? Good morning, Toowoomba. I'm Ben Apsey.
And I'm Daryl Nicholson. This is our pilot show, so bear with us. This is the first time we've used Zoom and trying to do a little bit of editing. We've got to watch our timeline too, mate. We've got about 40 minutes, but I reckon we'll knock this over in 30 minutes. So, okay, mate. So what's happening in your world? Or tell us a bit. You came up with the brainchild of this idea. So
yeah, so it's just something a little bit different to what people are sort of used to. Just daily chat with you and me, talking about all the good things that are happening around the region. The what's on, what you can be doing. Shout out to local businesses. So the idea is that we will have this set up so that we can roam around the different businesses within our region. And the different localities within our region. So if any businesses out there want us to come and record the show down there at their shop or at their place, send us a message. So we'll go through, do the weather for the region so that you're getting that straight up. You know what's going on, what's going to be like, any events that are coming up, and it's just a couple of probably one feature story or something. So.
Good. Right, mate. Well, I've got the clock going, so let's start off today's show. Banter, mate, is a place where the four of us hang out. You, me, myself, and Kevin, and Grant Lehman, of course. Can't forget Grant. But Banter, certainly a great little coffee shop. They were Bunker Coffee, Bunker Records.
Bunker Records they were originally, and now they're Banter Coffee Kitchen. So yeah, I've been down there this morning to grab my morning coffee. Thank you to Steve down there. It's caffeinated me up. So.
Oh, good stuff, mate. And look, it's a social enterprise business, so I really do encourage you to just support Steve there. He's doing some great work with some of the immigrants that are coming to town and getting them trained. So, mate, lots going on today at 11 o'clock. So we've pre-recorded this, of course. 11 o'clock, the councillors have been sworn in. It's going to be quite a long ceremony.
Yeah, because they're all doing it over live stream, so they can only go so much in one space. They're doing it a little bit different to what they usually would do with the big ceremony and the party afterwards. But just doing it with live stream to the public, but the actual event's happening down at City Hall.
Yep, and I saw at 11 o'clock it's starting. I did see Rebecca Von Hoff is 12:30. I think she wrote up on her personal Facebook page, and Tim McMahon is on at 12 o'clock. So it is going to be staggered. And mate, I'm going to hold Tim McMahon to something. He put a big post up yesterday. He's going to have the biggest party once we're all back out of isolation. So Good Morning Toowoomba is going to be there, you and me, and it's his shout. We helped him get this job.
That'd be good. I'll take him up on that offer. I'm not going to say no to a good shindig.
I think we gave him too much advice that got him in, mate. He got 10th position. I think it was the council from you and I that got him in.
It would be nice to think that we had some part in helping him get on there, and I'm really glad he did. I think he'll serve the city diligently and with some great leadership. So.
And look, certainly they're going to be under some challenges now with COVID-19. I mean, the last 2 weeks of the election certainly put a bit of a spin on things, and it was hard, as you know, to campaign in that last 2 weeks, not being able to go to the polling booth. So COVID-19 certainly threw a bit of a curveball in the elections in all the regions, not just Toowoomba, but in the Southern Downs and Western Downs and Moreton Bay region as well.
Well, it's really interesting you point that out. The Chronicle put an article out this morning saying that thousands of people didn't vote. Well, if you have a look at the actual figures, there's 115,000 voters in our region, and roughly 30,000 of those didn't turn out to vote at all. So that's about 26% of the region, and that could have been the difference between. Yeah, that could have been the difference between an entire region, a whole different council, 30,000 people. So.
Amazing. Okay. Oh well, and look, these guys are going to have their job. If they think they're just getting on council to just enjoy a 4-year period, they're really going to have some work to do. And I must say, mate, myself as a Toowoomba advocate and yourself, and we might get Tim Entwistle involved and Kirsten Schmalonsky. We might just attend some of those council meetings and just keep them on track. Maybe, who knows?
Well, that's it. Yeah, the city's, the whole region's going to need a lot of love and tender love and care over the next 4 years, especially over probably the next initial 18 months. It's going to be quite tough for a lot of people out there, especially some of the businesses and the small businesses in the region.
And speaking of tender loving care, mate, I'm glad you must be thrown into the next segment we're going to talk about. TLC for TRC, the brainchild of Kristen Malensky. I'll get her name right one day, but mate, they've really grown quickly. 3,000 likes on that page, and it's all about supporting local business. And I've certainly put some tips in there to stop using Vistaprint, to go to Neil at CGD Group, and there's certainly think local, support local, buy local. So it's a great campaign that Miss Malensky has come up with.
Yeah, that's right, and it is all about supporting locals. As I said, I've been down to Banter this morning to have a coffee, and there's Grimes Espresso Rail down near JB Hi-Fi as well. Roundup, Second Shop down in the city, they're all there. So,
and I think that's really important. Second Shot there. Not going to give too much away, but I had to talk to Nat. He told me how much he's got in his bank account there, and I think it's really important during this time to support those social enterprise business and local businesses. G down at Grinders, as you said, Banter, and also Second Shot. And what's the one in the walkway you just mentioned before? Ground Up.
Yeah. So there's quite a few down in the CBD that they need the support during this time. There's plenty of other businesses as well. There's a lot of hairdressers in town that you could go to get your haircuts. I know quite a few of them are closed, but there are some that aren't. Yeah.
Yep, and just don't forget about the Finch and all those. There's heaps of little coffee shops. So support local, think local, buy local, and mate, just watching some great posts from the guys at Westridge. The Boluses there, they're doing more delivery now than ever before. I think they're doing nearly 60% delivery. People are ringing up. They're packing the orders together and send them out. They're talking about a 30 to 40% walk-in coming through at the moment. I've just got my phone ringing, mate. Vanessa, Rebecca Von Holf's on the phone. I'll get that later, but I don't want to get distracted from this. But certainly the takeaway aspect and delivery is certainly growing.
Yeah, so it seems that a lot of people are doing that, and online shopping is up as well. So a lot of people buying online. If you can, buy from your local businesses directly through them. So a few of them have been saying that everyone buying everything through the third-party delivery services. It's having an effect on their business. So if you can, buy directly from the shops that are offering delivery, and then just get it delivered straight to your house. So
think local, support local, buy local. They're the three catchphrases. And then Neil, it's funny, mate. I was talking to Neil Davey. I was watching Win TV as you've been channel flicking, and Neil and I in late 2018, early 2019, we did a social experiment where we walked up Ruthven Street and talked about, give us your feedback. We've got a local radio station, we've got a local coffee magazine, we've got Toowoomba 4350 TV and CGD Group that does cartoon animations with Power FM and those guys. And we said, this is a social experiment. And lo and behold, last week on Win TV, I saw they're doing the local experiment as well. So I don't know where they got that from, but I'll take credit for that one with Neil. But think local, support local, buy local. That's what I've got to say. They're doing great work for TLC, for TRC. It's great. So check it out if you haven't already checked it out. That's
right. Yeah. So wherever possible, buy from your local grocers, butchers, coffee shops. Go to your local hairdresser. Get as much as you can.
Please do, mate. It was funny. I was just talking to Paula the other day. When I was working at the sports club, I thought, I need a break. I wouldn't mind taking a week off. And lo and behold, we got stood down 3 Mondays ago. But there are facilities out there, and you and I are looking at that, the Job Seeker and Job Keeper. But it is nice to have a bit of time at home, isn't it? But some of the celebrities have been bloody having a bit of a cry. And Sam Smith apparently did a bit of a Zoom like this, and he was having a bit of a cry that he was locked down at home. And Ellen DeGeneres, mate, done herself no favours. Channel 9 have dropped her show. She said she felt like she was in a prison in pyjamas, and it felt like a prison because she was in pyjamas or prison clothing with gay people. And now she's lost Channel 9 in Australia. They're not broadcasting the show, and they're putting Kevin Rules or some show about Kevin, which is quite funny. But are you enjoying the time at home? I mean, I'm sort of doing a bit around here and working on some videos, repeating some of my stuff. Actually, I've got Darby McCarthy's video repeated yesterday and today, and I broke it into 2 parts. But what about yourself? What are you catching up on? What are you doing?
Yeah, well, I've had a whole list of different projects that I've been sort of working on very slowly over the last 4 to 5 years since we moved into the house here, and so I've done a bit of time, spent a bit of time doing those sort of things. So I've finished the veggie garden out the back, I've weeded the courtyard, put all the new plants in, trimmed hedges. I put dog door in. I installed a dog door.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't think you could drive a nail straight, mate, but anyhow, you surprised me.
Well, I'm pretty good at hammering after all those core flutes I had to put in on stakes. So good with a hammer, but this required a jigsaw and a drill. So something that I'm not overly proficient in, but I have learnt how to install a dog door. At this point, we've got a skip in the front yard that we're just cleaning out as much as we can.
Right. Okay, you got a skip. Okay, so you've got a local skip company or a local business that's dropped that skip off, and that's probably in favour of where your wife works.
Yeah, as local as they can be. So JJ Richards, we've got a skip from those guys. DJ works there, so they've done us a good deal with what's going on at the moment, and they've been in Toowoomba for 50 years now.
Well, they have, and this is the thing, they're a local business as well, and they employ locals. And I know there's been a lot of the pubs and clubs have put their rubbish collection on hold, and I know at the sports club they sent their plants back that they were hiring, so it's certainly sent a knock-on effect. But again, think local, support local, and buy local where you can. You can't avoid those majors. You can't avoid the Coles, the Woolworths and the Aldis, but the message I always said is if you're in the seafood section, have a think about it. Do you need to buy the seafood from there, or do you go to Mal down at Central Seafood Markets? If you're in the butchery section, do you go to Andrew's Meats or Patton's? You know, really start thinking that way. Your favourite local butcher, your greengrocer, Westridge, Beach Ross Brothers. Actually, Beach Ross Brothers, mate, I found easy to get into. Parking, plenty variety. Prices are pretty good, and one-stop shop, sort of.
Yeah, no, you can get a lot of that stuff in places like Westridge Shopping Centre, which is close to me. They've got the butcher and the fresh fruit and veg and everything's pretty much all there. The news agent,
Mate, so again, thinking local, buying local. One of the stores that are doing really well is alcohol, and I saw on ABC this morning. I sort of flicked it on early, got up at 6:30, put it on at 7, and the pull-through had that 70% of Australians are drinking more now than ever because of isolation. And I had a bit of a laugh about that, and I thought, if anything, my drinking's cut down because I'm out here. I must admit, I'm out here in Stanthorpe with Polar, and I'm not drinking as much as what I would have in Toowoomba, and that certainly is quite funny because I'm, Polar is a winemaker. But what are you thinking? Are you drinking more or less? Or are you having that glass of wine? I don't believe 70% of Australians are drinking every day. I find that hard to believe.
I think, well, for me, I know that, EJ likes beer, so there's always beer in the fridge. I'm not a huge beer drinker myself, but I like an amber ale, or just sort of one a day if anything. But it's more just when you're doing the yard work, putting in a new garden or doing hedge trimming, it's sort of, you finish that, it's still pretty hot during the day, so it's nice to have a cold beer when you finish that. But
and that's what I love about Polar. She loves a cold beer as well. So Polar and EJ, you should get them together once we're out of isolation. Let them have a few beers together. But I do love my wine. I think everyone knows that. So.
Yeah, see, I'm with you on that one. I'd like a nice Sauv Blanc or a champagne or
bubbles.
Yeah, no, I love the bubbles. The champagne's my go-to if I can. So.
But definitely, there's a couple of pubs out here I've been going to, and mate, they're certainly doing good trade, but they're not doing the trade that they would be doing because they're not doing food out here. A lot of the businesses out here find it hard to do the takeaway. They're not getting the uptake on the takeaway. Brinks Deli is doing a lot of their deli stuff, but she said her takeaway is a little bit slow, but it's still there. But there are other cafes and that out here doing that. I see they're doing that in Toowoomba. Southern Hotel is doing some good packages. I see there. Moolah Brothers. You can just shop around and see what's going on and get some meal. You can actually get food and beer delivered now, which is quite the government's sort of relaxed that a bit, which is quite good for pubs to do that.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things that getting alcohol delivered, or you know, a nice meal, pub meal delivered. It's one thing that I know when we finished the campaign, my campaign manager Garth, he likes to have a nice scotch, and he sort of said, "Oh, well, you know, we can't go anywhere and do that. The best thing that we could have done on polling day was go have a pub feed," or and nothing was open. It's one of those things you sort of, when you really want it, it's not there, and when it is there, it's not something you think about all the time. So I guess one of those fear of missing out things.
That's what happened with us when we were doing your campaigning, and we thought, oh, geez, it'd be nice to go and get a pub meal and a drink, and just couldn't go anywhere. But look, we'll get back on the other side of that. So, mate, Southern Downs Regional Council got they were sworn in on Sunday night. The Electoral Commission rang them all FaceTime them, whatever they did. So the councillors got sworn in on Sunday night. They had their first meeting yesterday. Vic Panizzi's the new mayor out here, and there's 8 councillors, and there's some newbies in there. A couple of the old ones got thrown out, and the mayor of the ex-mayor of the Southern Downs region is writing for the newspaper now and causing quite some controversy. She wrote an article, and she's not even really, you know, they only had their first meeting yesterday, and already she's a little bit disgruntled and worried about the leadership under Vic Panizzi. So it's quite interesting, some of the banter that's going on out here. But I'm just hoping, and I'm sure that the Stanthorpe and Warwick regions will merge together and work together with this new council. And I'm sure it's going to happen in Toowoomba. There's 4 new people with the 6. And yours truly said 6 or 8 weeks ago, that the 6 would get in. And I was a bit swayed there by some of your candidates running, thinking it was going to be a brand new council. But here we go, we've got the 6 in. Do you think COVID-19 just sort of made people just say with the devil you know than the devil you don't?
I think so. I think in times of crisis like this, it's sort of one of those things, people go with what they know. It was a very interesting election. There's a lot you can take out of it. So 30,000 people didn't vote. There's a good example of what COVID-19 has done to the results. And that's, you know, there was 10% informal vote and 4% no-show at the last local government election. There was a 26% no-show this time at this election. So that could have had a lot of an effect on what the results were. But elections in that sort of time, they always favour incumbents, because people, they do go what they know and what's been going on before, regardless of whatever other issues there might be across the region. So that happens a lot. You'll see that, and that was reflected in many local government areas. There are a few local government areas like Gundawindi region where it was very similar. Mayor was unchallenged out there, so congratulations to the new mayor of Gundawindi Regional Council, Lawrence Springborg.
Yep. I saw that. Yeah, good result.
Yeah, good result for Gundawindi. So you got a few new faces, but yeah, you've got Lawrence as the new mayor out there, and councillors. So second time running, Lachlan Brennan, a good friend of mine, he's been re-elected out there. So it'll be interesting to see. Probably the notable thing in Toowoomba, it'll be interesting to see who the deputy mayor is going to be. The tradition.
You just read my mind, mate. I just wrote down the 4 new candidates here: Rebecca Von Hoff, Melissa Taylor, Kerry Shine, and Tim McMahon. Rebecca polled for the person on the bottom of the ballot paper. She's in the position for deputy mayor traditionally, but I might have a feeling that Jeff McDonald might get it. So, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's so there's a few councils around where they have a process. So it's different to ours, where the tradition, which was it's not a long-standing tradition, I don't think, where the person with the highest votes gets deputy mayor. I know in New South Wales, you don't run for mayor or council, you just run for council, and the person with the most votes from the elected councillors is who becomes the mayor and subsequently the deputy mayor, a bit like the parliamentary system. But there is a council up north where the deputy mayor is nominated either by another councillor or self-nominated, and then it's voted on by the council themselves. So that's how they do it up there. So that'd probably be what I, not to say that any of them would be better than the other. They're all great candidates that have been elected, but that could be a nice way of doing it, I guess.
Well, what they did, Sorry,
you want to have
you go.
you want to have a deputy mayor that sort of knows the system, that knows what they're doing. So Carol Taylor did that really well last time. She's been in local government for a fair while now. So Paul Antonio was as the mayor. So they've been in local government for a long time. Those sort of people. So and you've got like Kerry Shine, where he hasn't been in local government, but he is a former state politician. So and that brings up an interesting thing about what's going to happen with the state government elections in October. If Kerry's out of the action north, who's going to be that challenge for Trevor Watts in Toowoomba North? So we'll see. Watch that space.
Watch that space, yeah. So it was interesting. Southern Downs yesterday, they had a vote, so they had to nominate. There was 2 people running, and then they took a vote on those 2, and each of those people had to give representation of what they were about and why they should be deputy mayor. So maybe that process will go through the first council meeting for Toowoomba as well. So I'll give a prediction. I'm thinking Jeff McDonald might get it, or maybe Carol Taylor. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what ultimately it'll be. The mayor will make the final decision, I'd imagine. So we'll see what Paul Antonio picks there, as far as who the deputy mayor will be based on who nominates or whatever process they go with. But a nomination process will be the easiest one, I think. So.
Yep. Okay, mate, just to wrap up, let's do a little bit of a shout out for coffee. We talked about Banter, Second Shot, Finch, Grinders, and Ground Up for coffee. So let's go fruit and veg now. Who are you recommending for fruit and veg local?
So Westridge Fruit and Veg is my closest. But you've got plenty of other places around the region. You've already mentioned Beatros Brothers as well. So there's plenty of them. Even just, if you can get to the food markets, if they're still on the Cotton Co markets or Peas.
It's still on,
markets. So.
Yep, and also you've got I know there's one in ANZAC Avenue. There's a fruit shop there, and there's one in Newtown Shopping Centre. So support those local, seek out those small businesses. Hairdressers, you've got Gay from Jazzy Lane still available on the phone, doing tutorials, mate, tutorial videos, and I've been sharing those. So she's doing a 5-minute video how to do your hair, how to roll it. Don't go and buy those colours from the chemist. She's got them in stock. So really clever stuff that Gay's doing. A big shout out to Danielle Lindgren from Shincherie Salon as well. Do you know any other hairdressers? I know my ex-wife works at the one in Margaret Street near Banter. I can't think what it's called, the barber shop there. But
well, there's Bows for Men. It's still open down in the CBD. Joel's down in the CBD as well. It's still open.
That's where Robin works at Joel's. My first wife,
yeah. And then you've got places like Helen Tees down near JB. So they were really nice. I had one of my signs up for the election. So and then like snippets in the Bell Street Mall. So there's a few of them in the CBD you can go to.
Okay, seafood shops, Mal and Talisha down at Seafood, not Seafood on Merry now, Central Seafood Markets, which unfortunately has closed the doors. Central Seafood Markets just to get through this time, but Mal's got the sea lorry available, so you can ring Mal on the sea lorry. Still ring the shop number. I'm sure we'll divert to Mal's mobile. Also, there's another seafood shop, Seamongers, Stoney's in the Harry Street as well, another great local business. Meat, mate, where you and I did a show from.
Yeah,
where meat from.
We can go to Patton's. You can go to Andrew's Meats.
Andrew's Meats.
Even Westridge Meats is pretty good.
Payne's.
Yeah, Payne's Meats. There's plenty of them around. So.
And that's probably a bit like the election, mate, aren't we talking? We don't really care who you vote for. Just make sure you vote properly, and we don't care where you shop locally. Just support local. It's now more important than ever to support local.
That's it, yeah, and you're exactly right. It doesn't matter who you vote for in the end. Ultimately, I hope for more for myself, but as long as people are voting properly, and they were, the people that did turn out to vote, the people that did turn out to vote were voting properly.
Seriously,
they were voting for the 10 people. But I did hear a lot of, I don't know who any of these people are. I just picked 10 names that I knew. So that's what ultimately, I think this election came down to name recognition. It was how recognised your name is. And so for me, a lot of people they can't spell it. It's only 5 letters. It's not hard. They can't say it. So that's my mission over the next 4 years is to get people to understand that it's Apsey. App like on a phone, sea like the ocean, Apsey.
Yeah, good.
Very simple.
Okay, and don't use Vistaprint. Please use local printers. CGD Group. He does cartoon graphic design, business cards, pamphlets, flyers, a whole lot of things. So Neil is working now Monday to Friday, 9 till 12. He is also working from home as well. Jeff McDonald's got his cracker business. There's Greenridge. Who did stuff for you, mate? Was it Greenridge?
Yeah, Greenridge did
Greenridge,
all my how to vote cards, which are now compost in my. So I had about 20,000 of those things that went into the compost. So.
Yeah, good. Okay, mate, look, I've got the stopwatch on, so our time's getting away. So, look, be gentle on us. This is our first, our pilot for Good Morning Toowoomba. If you'd like us to give you a shout out, just in this time that we get this show going, just send us a message. One thing I'd like to do, Ben, is I did some video grabs from business people around Toowoomba and community leaders about Easter. So for ANZAC Day, if you want to put together a little 30-second ANZAC Day message for me about what ANZAC Day means to you, just message it through to Toowoomba 4350 TV, and I'll put a little package together on ANZAC Day Eve on the 24th and for the 25th as well. Interesting matter, rang the RSL out here. There's no flag raising ceremony till 9 o'clock. They're only allowing one person to go and raise the flag. There's no dawn service. Because of social gatherings. So I hadn't had a chance to ring Toowoomba yet. I would guess it's going to be the same thing. There'll be nothing at the Mother's Memorial, and I'm just thinking it's going to be people in their driveways at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what people do in this time of uncertainty as far as ANZAC Day goes. If there is, if anyone is holding a dawn service of any kind, we'd love to hear about it. We can bring down. We can come and film it and put it up online so people can still watch it if they want to. And then if you're on the driveway, by all means be on the driveway and get out and still show your respect for the life that we've got now, and for all those brave men and women who fought for our freedom. So.